No, no, no. We don't call them donkeys and we don't call them horses either.
Thank you, Chloe. In this lesson, we're going to be learning about the knight. Now, the knight is a little bit special in the sense that it doesn't move like other pieces. It doesn't move diagonally. It doesn't move in a straight line. It moves like an L shape. Look at that. That's an L shape, all right. Now, let's not forget that we could look at that shape from different angles. For example, let's look at it from the side or upside down, from the other side or back to normal. And on top of that, maybe I could place a mirror right in front of the board and then it would look like this. And if I were to look at it sideways, like this, from upside down, from the other side and back to normal. So as you can see, the knight really is a little bit special. Now let's take a closer look. How do we describe the knight move apart from being an L shape? Well, one way to look at it is the knight can move one square up or down, right or left, and then another square diagonally, like this, and then diagonally to the side, and then diagonal, down, and then diagonal, or to the other side, and then diagonal. Now, the interesting thing about the knight is every time it moves, it swaps colors. So if it's standing on a light square, it can only move to a dark square, and vice versa. Now, let's take a look at the other knight. Another way to describe the knight move is two squares up or down, or right or left, and then one square to the side or up or down, like this. Now to the side, up or down, to the side, up or down. And now I'm going to be drawing some arrows, so you can see the other knight and both knights. Now let's learn something else about the knight. The knight is the only piece that can jump over other pieces. Now this position is of course illegal because you can't have so many pawns in a real game, so many white pawns that is. There's no less than 16 pawns. Now let's see how the knight gets from A1 to H8. It's gonna jump over the pawns like this, and as you can see it's leaving a trace, so you can track down where it went and where it came from. And there we go, C6, E7, G6, and finally it gets to H8. So as you can see, the knight is pretty good at maneuvering. However, it's not a perfect piece, of course. It does have some issues. Let me explain this. The knight has some issues when it comes to moving to squares which are really close. Okay, those knights are going to try to get to the red squares. And they're really close. However, it's going to take them a while to get there, which kind of defies logic. Let's begin with the one on C7, the white knight on C7. 1, 2, and 3 squares to get there. Now the one on B2. 1, 2, and 3 squares to get there. But even more dramatic is the case of the knight in the corner, because it's going to take it 4 squares to get from H1 to G2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean, that's horrible. 4 moves to get to such a close square. It's unbelievable. Okay, so as you can see, they're not perfect pieces. They do have some issues, but still, you know, good pieces. They're worth about 3 points, 2.9 to be precise. But we'll talk about these later on. Now, knights do not like the borders or the corners. Let me explain these. Look at all those knights on the board. 3 knights, 3 white knights, and 3 black knights. Now, look at that knight. It can only go to those 2 squares. I mean, that's not very good. Okay, it's only attacking 2 squares at a time, and that's because it's standing right in the corner. Just about the worst place for a knight. Knights hate corners. Now look at that knight there on a7. It's not in the corner. It's a little bit better than the corner, but not much better, because it can only go to 3 squares now. And let's take a look at that one. Okay, not as bad as the corner, obviously, not as bad as being on g8, but it can only go to 4 squares. Still not that good. Now that one there, pretty close to the corner, 4 squares only, pretty bad. The one on b4, it's not in the border, and this time it can go to 6 squares. And that's the thing, the closer you get to the center, the more squares the knight controls. And this can be seen in the knight on e5, which can go to no less than 8 squares. And if you think about it, that knight could be attacking 8 different pieces. So it's a really good piece when it's centralized, close to the center. Now, the last thing we need to know is where do we put the knights at the start of the game? And that's where the knights go. The white knights, b1 and g1, and b8 and g8 for black. That's going to be the end of this lesson. I'm going to leave you with a quick recap. Thank you.